welcome to the council meeting of October 20th. This is a hybrid meeting. It's being held in person here in council chambers and electronically in accordance with section 238, subsection 3.3 of the Municipal Act. Meeting. The meeting will also be broadcast on Rogers TV. An agenda of the meeting can be found on the agendas, meetings, and minutes page of the city's website. Councilors attending virtually. A motion request vote is being taken. If a member of council is disconnected or having technical difficulties, we will take a recess in order to attempt to rectify the issue. If technical difficulties exist that prevent the meeting from continuing, the meeting will be adjourned and reconvened at a later time. If a councillor attending virtually needs to leave the meeting at any time, they are requested to inform the clerk. Councillor Talbot will be reading the resolutions. There's no closed session today, and we'll go to the minutes. Councillor Talbot.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Petter that the minutes of the regular meeting of Woodstock City Council held on October 6, 2022 be adopted.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Thank you. I'll call vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. That's unanimous. We have no additions to the agenda. And go ahead with Mr. Pigeon. He's not here. Mr. Pigeon, would you like to go ahead with the presentation?
Thank you, Chair and City Council. Yes, I'm Chris Pigeon with GSP Group. I'm planning consultant to Broccolini Oxford Road Limited Partnership. Also here with me this afternoon are Tony Woodzicki. He is Director of Real Estate Development for Broccolini, and Nicole Talpa, who is a Development Coordinator with Broccolini. I presented at a public meeting on Monday evening. We answered a few questions from council. There was no presentation made by any members of the public or other stakeholders. I'm prepared not to go through my presentation this afternoon, but rather would be prepared to answer any questions of council, given that we just presented to council and the public on Monday evening.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time, or would you like to hear the planning information first? We'll move on. There's no resolution required here. So the first planning report is ZN 8-22-14, B22-63-8, application for consent and zone change. Broccolini Oxford Road Limited Partnership, 714914 Oxford Road 4. Call on the planner. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, council, staff, and members of the public. I'll introduce myself again because there's a few new people here. I'm the newish planner to the city of Woodstock with Eric Gilbert. My name's Justin Miller. So I'll be presenting today's reports in addition to the ones that were heard on Monday. So as the chairperson said, the number of the reports, so the subject property is described as lots 11 and 12, concession 1, formerly in Norwich Township, and is municipally known as 714914 Oxford Road 4. The purpose of the application is for zone changes to rezone the subject property from development to special general industrial zone to facilitate an industrial development with a maximum height of about 100 feet or 30.5 meters. The purpose of the application for consent is to create a new vacant industrial lot and retain a new vacant industrial lot. The subject lands are designated traditional industrial in the official plan and environmental protection in the official plan. The existing zone is development and the proposed zoning is special general industrial, and it was in the previous report identified as environmental protection, EP. We've changed that in the resolution to open space, and that's because the EP zone has 120 meter setback that Eric and I, being new, didn't realize at the time for development. So we've changed to open space to give it the same sort of protections to prevent development from the woodlot section, but without the setback. As part of the woodlot was inventoried as part of the the study, no significant features were found that would warrant that 120-meter setback. So we've set it to open space to prevent development, but to protect the woodlot. The application for consent proposes to sever a parcel for industrial purpose with an area of about 80.1 acres and retain a lot with an area of approximately 45.98 acres for similar uses. The applicant has also applied for private easements between the severed and retained lands to permit stormwater to drain from the retained lands to a proposed stormwater management facility on the severed lands. And a joint access is also proposed as an easement to access the roads. The land to be severed and retained will be sufficient area to accommodate future industrial uses, and the proposed drainage easement between the severed and retained lots will facilitate a shared stormwater management pond that will make the most efficient use of the land and the vacant industrial land. Detailed matters such as lot grading, stormwater access, things like that will go through the site plan approval process and be looked at more detailed by the city and the county through that process. Planning staff recommend approval of the proposed zoning amendment and recommend support of the proposed consent application subject to the conditions that are in the report.
Thank you. Before we have any questions, could I have a resolution, please? Councillor Talbot and second by Councillor Accioni. Go ahead. Are there any questions on this application? I'm trying to get this done quick, all right. Go ahead.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council approve the application for lands described as lots 11 and 12, concession 1, East Oxford, formerly Township of Norwich, now in the city of Woodstock, to rezone the subject property from Developmental Zone D to Special General Industrial Zone M339 and Environmental Protection 1 Zone EP1. And further, that any comments received from the public were reviewed and considered before the decision was made in relation to this planning matter. And further, Woodstock City Council advised the Oxford County Land Division Committee that the city supports the application for consent for lands described as lots 11 and 12, concession 1, East Oxford, formerly Township of Norwich, now in the city of Woodstock, to facilitate the creation of a new vacant industrial lot, subject to the following 5 conditions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Schadenberg?
Yeah, from the chair to our planner from the county of Oxford, and maybe even the engineering staff from the city of Woodstock, you might both want to answer. Just want to get an update quickly on the Oxford Road 4 master transportation plan that the county is undertaking currently, and quite frankly, what effect, if any, that might have on this property with frontage on Oxford Road 4.
Through the chair, I'd defer that to engineering, just because they have a better handle on it than I do.
Your worship, through the your worship, through the counselor. Yes, the Oxford County is currently working on a transportation master plan as well as a corridor study of County Road 4. As part of that, the south end of County Road 4 near Parkinson may be realigned to align up with Commerce Way. This possibility is being looked at because of the MTO, which is concerned about the proximity of this intersection with their interchange. So that's why the county is including that in their TMP and corridor study.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call the vote on that. All in favor?
Excuse me, Chair. It's Chris Pigeon. May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I heard the planner indicate that that staff have changed the resolution not to rezone the woodlot to EP1, but to rezone it to open space. And the resolution that's on the floor with council is the EP1 zone. So I'd ask that resolution be revised, because the EP1 zone requires the 120-meter setback. The open space zone would allow a 10-meter setback from the woodlot. So I think the resolution that's on the floor needs to be amended.
Yes, yes. Would you like to speak to that, please?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. It should be changed to open space. I think Eric sent in the updated resolution this morning. Okay. But yes, that's what it should be changed to.
Go ahead.
Your worship, do you need the mover and a seconder to change it? Or like, how would you,
Friendly amendment to it.
a friendly amendment? Then I'll change the last part from environmental protection 1 zone to open space. It should be OS, I think. OS 1.
Okay, is there any other, are there any other questions?
Chair, I have one last question. So with that resolution, could I ask, is the zoning bylaw on council's agenda for 3 readings today?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions on this? Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That's passed unanimous.
Thank you, council.
The next application is OP 22-07-A, ZN 8-22-8, application for official plan amendment and zone change, Canfield Acres, 1366 Dundas Street. Could I have a motion on that, please? Councillor Petter, and a seconder, please. Councillor Schadenberg, go ahead.
I move that Woodstock City Council support the application to amend the official plan file number OP 22078 submitted by Canfield Acres Inc. for lands legally described as part lot 14 concession 1 East Oxford in the city of Woodstock to redesignate the site from service commercial to traditional industrial to facilitate the redevelopment of the subject lands for a manufacturing plant. And further, the Woodstock City Council approve in principle the zone change application file number ZN 82208 submitted by Canfield Acres for lands legally described as part lot 14 concession 1 East Oxford in the city of Woodstock to rezone the subject property from special service commercial zone C433 to special general industrial zone MG14 to facilitate the redevelopment of the subject lands for a manufacturing plant. And further, that any comments received from the public were reviewed and considered before the decision was made in relation to this planning matter.
Ed?
The subject lands are described as part lot 14, concession 1 East Oxford, and are municipally known as 1366 Dundas Street. The purpose of the official plan amendment is to redesignate that portion of the lands currently designated service commercial to traditional industrial to facilitate the redevelopment of the site for a manufacturing plant. The application for zone change proposes to rezone the property from special highway commercial to special general industrial zone to facilitate the redevelopment of the subject lands for manufacturing plant and to ensure that there's a consistent zoning across the whole of the property. So a portion of the property is already zoned special general industrial. This zone change is to make the entire property have a consistent zoning. So the existing official plan is service commercial and traditional industrial. The proposed official plan would be traditional industrial. The existing zoning is special highway commercial and general industrial zone. And the requested zoning is special general industrial zone. In support of this application, the applicants have submitted a traffic study, a servicing report, and a stormwater management details. The subject lands are approximately 20 acres in area, contain a single detached dwelling and a number of former agricultural buildings that are intended to be removed. The subject property is located within an area that's characterized by industrial and highway commercial uses, and the proposed use is already contemplated on the southerly boundary of the subject lands by the official plan. The redesignation of the lands from service commercial to traditional industrial can be considered appropriate in light of the city's current adequate supply of commercial lands identified in the most recent phase 1 comprehensive review study, which was adopted by County Council in April 2020. The lands will continue to be used for employment purposes. Detailed matters such as lot grading, stormwater management, landscaping, things like that will be reviewed as part of the site plan control process, which this is also required to go under. And planning staff are of the opinion that the proposal is consistent with the PPS. It supports the strategic initiatives and objectives of the official plan respecting industrial and employment land uses. So staff are satisfied the applications can be given favorable consideration.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Schadenberg?
Yeah, from the chair through to, I guess, maybe might just be a statement as this evolves. One of the things that we always find pressures upon is residential intensification and using up all the property we have within our current boundaries. And this is a piece of property that the city of Woodstock itself does not own. So therefore, it's nice to see this being developed within our current boundaries for employment purposes to go forward, instead of, as we've always talked about, doing boundary adjustments or anything else to make room for any kind of additional industry. But maybe I do have a quick question for our development officer. I know Brad Hammond's on the line today. Is there any indication whatsoever, Brad? If the answer is no, then the answer is no, but what this land might be used for? Specifically, what it might be used for?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay. The intended use is for manufacturing. So there's an industry that's interested in purchasing the property or has an agreement of purchase and sale with the Canfield family. Of course, the split zoning on the property creates a bit of a problem. So this, they're just trying to rectify that before they move to close on it. So be manufacturing industry of some kind.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I'll call the vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. That's passed unanimously. The next application is OP 22-13-8, ZN 8-22-10, application for official plan amendment and zone change, Hacienda Leasing, Inc., 1290 Dundas Street. Could I have a motion on that, please? Councillor Schadenberg, and second by Councillor Tay. Go ahead, Councillor Schadenberg.
The Woodstock City Council support the application to amend the official plan file number OP 22-13-8 submitted by Hacienda Leasing, Inc. for lands legally described as part of Lot 23, registered plan number 573, being parts 13, 29, and 30, a reference plan number 41R-9971 in the city of Woodstock to redesignate the site from traditional industrial to serve as commercial to facilitate an expansion of an existing automobile dealership. And further, the Woodstock City Council approve in principle the zone change application file number ZN 8-22-08 submitted by Hacienda Leasing, Inc. for lands legally described as part of Lot 23, registered plan number 573, being parts 13, 29, and 30, reference plan 41R-9971 in the city of Woodstock to rezone the subject property from general industrial zone M3 to special service commercial zone C4-18 to facilitate an expansion of an existing automobile dealership and satisfy a condition of provisional consent. And further, that any comments received from the public were reviewed and considered before the decision was made in relation to this public planning matter.
Thank you. I'll call the planner again. This application.
Good afternoon. So this application is similar to the last one, only in reverse, where instead of going from a commercial use to an industrial use, we're going on part of a lot, we're going from industrial use to a commercial use. The purpose of the official plan amendment is to redesignate the subject lands from traditional industrial to serve as commercial to facilitate the expansion of an existing auto dealership. The application for zone change proposes to rezone the property from general industrial to special highway commercial, similar to the zoning of the existing dealership. The subject lands were recently severed from a larger parcel to the immediate east on May 5th, 2022, and are being added to the noted auto dealership. The existing official plan designation is traditional industrial. The proposed official plan designation is serves commercial. The existing zoning is general industrial, and the proposed zoning is special highway commercial. This is a little bit harder to do because the province gives more scrutiny on going from an employment use like an industrial use to a commercial use. But there's justification for that to satisfy the requirements of the provincial policy statement, as well as the official plan relating to the conversion of employment lands. Planning staff have relied on the population projections and land need analysis from the Oxford County Phase 1 comprehensive review prepared by Hemsim Consulting. The findings of the report are approved by the city and county councils in April 2020 as an unbiased and appropriate indication of growth potential for the city and county over the 20-year planning horizon. Based on that report, planning staff have determined that Woodstock has a potential employment land shortage of almost 1,400 acres. That said, in January 2018, the city of Woodstock incorporated approximately 1,500 acres of land from the township of Norwich for employment purposes. So it makes this supportable from a planning perspective. Further, on March 9th, 2022, County Council approved the Southeast Woodstock Secondary Plan and the official plan report to designate 504 acres for employment purposes in that area. Based on the detailed matters, again, this will be on the site plan control. So detailed matters like stormwater management, lot grading, landscaping will be dealt with through the site plan process. Will be looked in much more detail. And approval of the requested official plan and zone change amendment are conditions of the consent that was conditionally approved in May. Planning staff are of the opinion that the proposal is consistent with the policies of the PPS and supports the strategic initiatives and objectives of the official plan respecting service, commercial lands, and employment uses. As such, staff are satisfied that the applications can be given favorable consideration.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this application? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote on this. All in favor? Thank you. That's passed unanimously. The next application is ZN 8-21-18, application for zone changed to 43698 Ontario Inc., 816 Devonshire Avenue. Could I have a motion on that, please? Councillor Tate, and a seconder, please. Councillor Talbot,
I'll make a motion to defer.
thank you. Are there any questions through to the planner why we're deferring this? Okay, I'll call the vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. That's passed unanimously. The next application is ZN 8-22-06, application for zone change. Kaijo Steel Inc., 140 Bisham Park Drive. Could I have a motion on that, please? Councillor Accioni, and a seconder, please. Councillor Schadenberg. Go ahead, Councillor Accioni.
Here we go. Thank you. Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council approve in principle the application for lands described as Part Block 2, Plan M-73, designated as Parts 1 and 2, 41R 9242 in the city of Woodstock to rezone the subject property from Special General Industrial M33 to Special General Industrial M32. And further, that any comments received from the public were reviewed and considered before the decision was made in relation to this planning matter.
Thank you. I'll call the planner again.
The application for zone change proposes to rezone the subject lands from special general industrial to special general industrial from M33 to M32 to provide a consistent zoning over the entirety of the subject lands. This is another case where lands were boundary adjusted to the subject lands, making them have two different zonings, and we're obligated by policy to clean that up by providing consistent zoning over the entirety of the property. The subject lands recently received conditional approval for that consent application of September 1st, 2022, and have also severed it from an existing industrial activity. Staff are satisfied that there are no zoning deficiencies were created through the lot addition on both the enlarged and retained lands. There will be adequate space for parking, setbacks, landscaping, and proper drainage on both parcels resulting from that severance. The whole of the lands to be severed are approximately 3.8 acres, and the portion that was added to these subject lands is only about 3/4 of an acre. Staff are satisfied that the proposal is consistent with the policies of the provincial policy statement and meets the intent and purpose of the official plan and can be given favorable consideration. Approval in principle in this case is requested until we can receive a survey quality mapping to create the zoning schedule with, and at which time we'll bring it back to council for final approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this application? Councillor Schadenberg.
Really just a comment I'd like to make. I don't know when the Bisham Park area opened up because of the fact that kind of a crescent there off of Lansdowne. But I remember when I was at the Sutton Review newspaper, I used to cover bicycle races that used Bisham Park as sort of a quick oval to do a bike race. And I would think by looking at the map that once this Kaijo Steel project goes through, assuming it will, that Bisham Park will finally be filled.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. I'll call the vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. That's passed unanimously. We'll move on to administrative services. A statement of revenue and expenditures and statement of capital expenditures for the period ending September the 30th, 2022. Could I have a motion on that, please? Counselor Tate and Counselor Talbot. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that Woodstock City Council receive the statement of revenue and expenditure and the statement of capital expenditures for the period ending September 30th, 2022 is information.
Thank you. Are there any questions through to our treasurer? Counselor Schadenberg.
I know, for example, I'm not keeping Todd off the golf course today because it's lousy weather for golf. But I did talk to our treasurer, Diane Campbell, before trying to seek I guess a full clarification or full explanation on, for example, receiving tax revenue from from the citizens as tax bills go out. That the total revenue budget for 2022 was about 64 million and the actual year to date was 64 million. But I wanted to sort of explain how that works as far as revenues actually received versus revenues we're still waiting for.
Acting Mayor Lauder, through to the councilor's question. We bill our taxes twice a year, an interim and a final billing, and the tax levy is based on our budget requirements. So that number always matches. We haven't necessarily collected it all yet. We have an installment due at the end of this month. And then there are always arrears that we're collecting as well. Where you see the difference will be in the additional taxes, and that's where we pick up the building permits.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Counselor Schadenberg, go ahead.
Yeah, to the chair, a question through to Dan Locke from the engineering office. Just the sort of the success we're having this year in selling our recyclable products that we've collected from citizens. I always say, if you've diverted something away from the landfill and you're getting anything for it whatsoever, it's positive, more positive than sending it to the landfill, whether it be aluminum or paper or fibers or whatever it might be. But the city's actually done quite well this year on collecting money or revenue from this.
Through you, Acting Mayor Lauder, to the councilor's question. So the sale of recycled materials, it is subject to the market trends, and they are trending up. As you can see, we're doing rather well. And it's a conservative budget. We don't want to put a budget line in that's really high and then the trends, trend down and then we're under the projected revenues. So I did take a conservative approach on that. So we'll reap the benefits of additional revenue coming in on these commodities while they trend high.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, I'll call a vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. That's passed unanimously. The next is the application for tax relief under section 357-1 of the Municipal Act 2001. Could I have a motion on that? Councillor Talbot and second by Councillor Accioni.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council directs the treasurer to cancel, reduce, or refund the taxes levied in 2021 and 2022 as detailed in the reports.
Thank you. Are there any questions on that report? Councillor Talbot.
Through the acting mayor to Mrs. Campbell. Is this something we only do once a year, or how do we determine when we're going to do it? Mayor Lauder, through to the council's question. Usually we do it twice a year. We usually do one in the spring to tidy up the previous year, and then we try to do one towards the end of the year to clean up 2022.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Councillor Schadenberg.
Yeah, again, from the acting mayor through to Diane, I guess the question is do people have to apply to have this rebate to the taxes, or it's not? For example, the fire department says, well, that house burnt down, they don't have to pay taxes.
Acting Mayor Lauder, through to Councillor Schadenberg. Yes, this is by application, although we do get information from the fire department when there's a fire, and if we can, we will contact the owner.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'll call the vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. That's unanimous. And the next one is the special committees and advisory task force reports. Could I have the 2022 community grant program fall intake? Could I have a motion on that, please? Councillor Accioni and a seconder, Councillor Tate. Go ahead, Councillor Accioni.
Thank you. Moved by myself that in accordance with community grants policy GA003, Woodstock City Council allocates the following grants for the fall of 2022. Caribbean Canadian Association for the amount of $2,500. Cycles of Life for Supportive Transitional Living for $1,000. KDK Productions for $2,500. Oxford Grants of Ontario Ancestors to $1,500. Oxford Pride Committee for $1,000. Oxford Winds Community Concert Band, $2,000. Woodstock Badminton Club for $2,500. Woodstock Legion Athletic Club for $4,000. Woodstock Minor Ball Association for $15,000. And the YMCA for $7,500. And further, that Woodstock City Council authorized the carryover of the balance from account 0204-83747-0000 to the 2023 budget year in order to provide supplemental funding for the 2023 Community Grants Program.
Just through the chair, if acting mayor counselor wants to comment on it, because she is on this committee.
Yes, this committee, we meet twice a year, and this money that is allocated for this is from the OGL and OLG, I should say. And this was, we get usually quite a few applications, and they're gone through very thoroughly. And the committee, we have a great committee. And so this was the what we found for this fall intake. And there is a little bit of money left over that we'll be carrying forward until till next year, because we're just never sure what we're going to be getting right now from the OLG. But I see that we got a nice check just recently. So next year should be, we should have a little bit more money that we'll be able to divvy out. So I think this is pretty fair what we have now. So thank you. Yes, Councillor Accioni.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say the same thing as well. So thank you for making the comments, and thank you to the whole committee. This has got to be a tough job, of course. This is one committee I've never sat on, truthfully. So, but I could imagine the amount of applicants you get. And I just want to encourage those, if they were not successful in garnering any success, to please keep at it, keep applying, because this group of people really do put a lot of thought and effort into this, and thank them for it. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And it's, we do say that it isn't something they want to rely on, because we can't always come up with the money that's requested. Quite often they request a lot more than what we allow here, but there's only so much money to be divvied out, and we try to be fair as much as we can. So Councillor Petter.
Through the acting mayor to the acting mayor, I want to thank you for being on the committee and the rest of the committee. I was privileged to be on it from 2014 to 2018. At that time, we were kind of struggling trying to get the word out that this money was there and for the groups to apply. Obviously, I think we did a pretty good job, because I'm looking down the list and there's probably half that I've never seen before that put in applications. So I'm just happy to see the new organizations that are on there. And I couldn't agree more with Connie. That committee is fantastic. You just love going to the meetings because they're so down to earth and do their homework. It's fantastic. So anyway, thanks.
Yeah, they do their homework all right. So they come up with figures, and we all have our idea of what the figures might be, and we usually come up pretty close to what we suggest that they should be. So Councillor Schadenberg.
A comment first, and then a question to Brian Connors from the Parks and Recreation Department. Certainly want to comment, for example, the Caribbean Canadian Association. Suzanne Phillips is their president, really an upstart organization that's growing very quickly in the city of Woodstock. That's got some nice prominent ideas moving forward. But my question to Brian Connors just is more of a clarification of the general public. K2K Productions is in there to assist people that might have income issues to join that program, similar to the Woodstock Badminton Club and their youth programming for lessons. But neither one of those associations are obviously City of Woodstock associations. So how does this compare therefore to the FAIR program and the fee assistance and recreation program that the City of Woodstock offers?
Your worship, through to the councillor's question, the fee assistance program in the city of Woodstock is you must be a resident in the city of Woodstock, and it is for anyone who falls within the LITCO standards, so the low income standards, and there is a if you meet those criteria, you are able to obtain a certain amount of money for programs, and you can spend that money any way you wish. Any amount that you don't spend at the end of the year goes back into the city coffers.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I'll call the vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. That's passed unanimously. And the next, we'll move on to the bylaws. Councillor Talbot.
Thank you. I just want to say that I did check the bylaw on the first application and it has been changed to the open space. So just for reassurance from Mr. Pigeon. Anyways, moved by myself and sent by Councillor Petter that the following bylaws be given a first and second reading. 955222, a bylaw to amend the City of Woodstock's Municipal Code Chapter 134, officials appointments. 955322, a bylaw to amend the City of Woodstock Municipal Code Chapter 153, property standards officers appointments. And 955422, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 862610 as amended.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the bylaws? Hearing none, I'll call the vote on that. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have the third reading, please, Councillor Talbot?
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Petter that the following bylaws be given a third and final reading. 955222 inclusive to 955422.
Thank you. All in favor of that? Thank you. It's unanimous. And we'll move on now to the question and answers by members of council. Councillor Accioni.
Thank you very much. This morning, we had the opportunity, a few of us had the opportunity to go to Oxford School and speak to grades 5 to 8. And what a great opportunity that was to see them so intrigued. Please don't forget it, get out and vote. Advanced polls have been very successful. I'm proud to hear that and encourage everybody to keep getting out. And of course, Monday is the big day, so make sure you remind everybody. And hopefully everybody has a very happy and safe Halloween. Just remember when you're out that night to be very cautious driving. You're going to be having lots of kids outside, and with the weather, they're turning the way it is, it's always more dangerous. So be safe, have fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Talbot.
Thank you. I started my morning this morning watching the news and a reporter came on from Barrie and it was snowing. And it was so dark outside in Woodstock, I couldn't tell whether it was snowing here or not. And I was almost afraid to turn the lights on so I could see. So I'm very thankful that it avoided us. Although I did look out at some point yesterday and I'm positive it was snowing or it was a very heavy sleet. So it's just around the corner. And I was talking with my daughter and telling her and I said, yep. I said, I remember lots of Halloweens where we had snow. So the kids that are going to be going out trick or treating might have to be very creative, incorporating some very warm clothing in their costumes this year. But that's just around the corner. And I can't say that I can say I'm looking forward to the time change because this waking up to it being completely black outside is not working for me. Anyways, as Councillor Accioni said, this is your opportunity this weekend on Monday to have your say in voting. So please get out there and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tate.
Yeah, I just want to thank the clerk's department for all their work going into the election. It's been, public wouldn't know this, but we've had a huge changeover in staff. So not only are they managing this election very well, but they've had also to train a number of staff. So thank them and also the rest of the city employees for their help making the city run as well as it is and get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Schadenberg.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I guess you could say Christmas is quite a long time away, but on Wednesday, November the 30th is the CP holiday train. Just want to make note of that because of the fact that so many people might want to write it on their calendar. 6:40 PM on November 30th is when the CP holiday train will come through Woodstock at the Winnett train station. So keep in mind, this is the CP holiday train, not the CN holiday train. So that's where the train station is on Winnett Street. I had an IT emergency yesterday, and I know everyone was busy in IT in the city of Woodstock and the clerk's department for obvious reasons. But Ryan Molinaro and Chris Grattan came through for me and helped me with my battery on my laptop yesterday. So if Chris Grattan could come out, I'll give him a big hug right now. No, I'm sure he won't come out. He's back behind the door. He can't come out. And just a reminder that Theater Woodstock has Calendar Girls on stage one more weekend coming up this weekend. Sakura House is also going to be the benefit of calendars they're selling for $20 a piece. So there's a double reason to support Calendar Girls at Theater Woodstock.
Thank you, Councillor Petter.
Thanks for picking me last because I have something to say. I know.
Saved the best for last.
I want to thank this council. I have one more meeting, November the 4th. I don't know why, because there'll be a new council but I'll be here because I'm always here, always make the meetings. But I want to thank this council for appointing me to finish Ron Fraser's term. For people that don't know the background, when I ran in 2014, Ron Fraser was having health issues and had to pull out of that election. I got the last spot of the 4, which I would not have gotten if Ron had a run. There's no doubt about that. And I told Ron during his medical problems that just to get better, and I was just keeping the seat warm for him. And when he came back, I'll be out and he can get back in. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't run in 2018. Ron did. I'm not sure how he did, but I'm sure he did really well. So he got back in. Unfortunately, his health issues came back and he was not able to finish this term. And because of COVID, the city was shut down, City Hall was shut down, the province was shut down. We could not have this council decided we could not have an election, which would have been impossible. And they asked me to come back to fill Ron's rest of his term. I was more than honored to do that. I heard from the Fraser family and they were happy with it. And I just want to thank this council for allowing me to do that. I haven't embarrassed you too much. I've tried to stay a little bit. Jerry's right. Amy has looked after me. She's kept me under control. I want to thank David and Amy and Diane and Harold and Brian and anybody else I've forgotten. And I haven't got there yet. Leave me alone. I'm saving Ann for the end because the boss, which is what I call Ann Ash, she looks after me totally. I don't know what I would have done through the 4 years and the almost 2 years. So I want to thank Ann especially. So anyway, thanks to this council. I am not allowed to say that any vote cast for this council is a good vote. Amy's right now, she's staring at me right now because I am not allowed to say any of what I'm saying. But I have an opinion, and that's what I'm using, that any vote for any of these people around this horseshoe is a good vote. And good luck to the people that aren't around the horseshoe. Did I cover it? No, she's not. I wish you people could see the city clerk right now. Anyway, thanks to this council for allowing me to do that. I really appreciate it. I didn't know Ron all that much, but I certainly appreciated what he did for the city as a police chief, as a volunteer, and as a city council. So thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. So yesterday I had the honor of bringing greetings to the 2022 Fanshawe College graduates. It was the first time they were able to have a full graduation ceremony since COVID. Congratulations again to all those graduating students. As was said, their courses were conducted under the same restrictions we all lived through. Many classes were virtual or some hybrid, etc. So certainly a different way of learning, but they did a great job yesterday. And yes, the Woodstock Little Theater has a production that the tickets have all been sold other than for Saturday night, and there's only a few tickets left. If you would like to go, better call them at 519-537-2582. They said that everything was selling out fast, so this is fabulous. I was there on Sunday and it was a sold out performance, and it was great. And save the date for the fall opening house. Join the Woodstock Art Gallery and celebrate a new suite of exhibitions Saturday, November the 5th from 1 to 4. There will be tours and talks starting every hour. Admission is free and everyone is welcome to attend. And I'm sure no one is wanting to think about Christmas. The message from Woodstock Museum Vintage Christmas Card Sale is back for a third year with a new selection of cards for holiday season. The popular fundraiser showcases reproductions of cards from the museum's collection. This year, the cards feature 4 festive designs originally produced between 1905 and 1930. And the cards are available to pre-order online now with pickup and in-person purchases beginning November the 1st. Each set includes 12 assorted blank cards with envelopes for $20. And yes, we will miss you, Councillor Petter, and you always make things interesting. And, and never know what you might say. And anyhow, wishing everyone a happy Halloween, and please get out and vote. Thank you. And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Petter. And second by Councillor Schadenberg. Thank you. We're